the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. The show that gives you the lowdown on how to become a successful real estate entrepreneur. With more than 30 years of experience, America's top female real estate investor Dwan is an expert in financial freedom and turning dreams into realities. Now's your chance to become a Dwandernaire with the help of Dwan. Here's to a flaming hot foreclosure market with the help of Dwan. Cheers.
Hey everybody, Dwan Twyford, America's most sought after real estate investor, and welcome to another exciting episode of Inside the Minds of today's millionaires. So as you know, I bring you a very wide variety of people, and they're all interesting, they're all fascinating, they all have something going on. And the reason we like to dig in and see what they're doing is to see if our guests can open a door or give you an idea or help you along your path to reach the dreams and goals that you have. So today I have Mariusz. I said it right?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
What a great name is that. So I'm going to have you say your last name because I'm afraid to butcher it.
Yeah, so it's Mariusz Skonieczny.
Skonienczy. What a great name, Mariusz. I love that name. All right. So basically what we do is we kind of just throw you right into the deep end. I have you tell everybody your name, what you do, how they can reach you, and then we're going to find out how you got here.
Okay, so
it's all yours for a minute.
I invest in the stock market, in the microcap space, small cap companies. You can reach me, my website, MicroCap Explosions.com, and it's the easiest way. That's where you can find a link to my social media accounts. YouTube, I have a YouTube channel. I mean, of course, you can take my name and you can Google it and you'll find lots of information, but microcapexplosions.com is probably the easiest way.
MicroCapExplosions.com. Well, you know, I don't know a whole lot about the stock market, so I'm excited to talk to you about this. So tell me, how old are you?
I am 42. I just turned 42 on January 1st.
Aw, are you a brand new New Year's baby?
Yes, I am.
Aw, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And you're just a pup still, 42. All right,
Yeah.
So you're in the stock market. So tell us a little bit about what does that look like?
Well, first of all, you said you don't know much about the stock market. You know more than you actually think, because people think of the stock market as a place to gamble. Okay, it's not a place to gamble. A ticker symbol represents something. Okay, there's a business behind it. There's an enterprise behind it that solves problems, provides solutions. So, you know, you have your business, short selling business, or, you know, your real estate business. It's a business, you know, you own it privately. But if your business was, you know, available, public business, meaning that you would be a shareholder, a bunch of your friends would be shareholders, then I would be interested to learn about what it is, what makes your business tick. Why is it going to grow? Why is it satisfying the customers? So if you focus from the point of view of a business, what it does, why it does it, stock market is not that complicated. Stock market is just a way, it's an avenue to get access to the ownership of all sorts of businesses. That's all it is. Yeah,
no, I love it. We have a little stock here and there. Now I have a little cryptocurrency here and there. I'm kind of dabbling because most of it is, you know, I'm a real estate investor. So most everything I have would be a house, a storage unit, a commercial building, vacant land, like kind of real estate based. So if someone was like, hey, Dwan, give me some advice on the stock market, I have to just send them straight over to you because I don't think I'd be able to give anyone any actual real advice. So what is it that you help people do? Do you help people invest? Do you research companies for people, or are you just like, this is what you do?
Okay, so I invest my own money, obviously. That's how I made my millions, investing my own money. But I have a YouTube channel where I try to teach people about investing, like the right way of thinking about it, the right mentality. And then, because I want people to, you know, independently learn how to do it, take charge of their financial, you know, life and financial goals. And then, you know, for those that want to know, like my particular investments, my research, what I own, that's where my service comes in, which is MicroCap Explosions. Is a private membership website where I, share my research with them. I bring in the CEOs of the companies that I have. We have this community, and I really delve into it. Sometimes we even raise money for companies. So if they need money for launching a new product or advertising a new product or making an acquisition or growing, we can get together with our members and we can inject those companies with capital.
So when Dwanderful goes public, you're the guy I should be talking to?
Well, I would be the one that might be buying your shares, but I wouldn't be taking them public. You have to go through like investment bankers or lawyers.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Now, how did you get into that? That is really interesting. And, I'm sort of the mindset when I see the stock market goes down, I'm like, hey, everything's on sale. So that's when you should buy more of it because, it's cyclical like everything. It goes up and it goes down. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this stock dropped. I'm like, if it's a good company and I feel like it's going to go back up, I'm like, hey, everything's on sale, buy more. So
well, let's use the example of
is
real
that a
estate
terrible
because,
mindset to look at things?
no, it's a good mindset. Let's look at it from the point of view of real estate versus stock market, because your listeners might not know. I started off in real estate. When I graduated college in 2003, I went into real estate first. That's when the Poor Dad, Rich Dad books came out.
Yeah.
I went into real estate. I was a real estate appraiser, both on the residential and commercial. Then I was a broker. And then in 2008, 2009, when the financial crisis hit, I took your advice, which is when they were crashing. That's when I left real estate and I went full-time into the stock market. So I understand both. But you see, on the stock market side, people panic. Oh my goodness, the stock market, the prices are going down. It's bad. And but on the real estate side, I mean, think about it. When you're bidding on an apartment building or a house or whatever, do you want the price to be higher? Do you want the price to be low when you're buying, right? Like, it's obvious. And we think about it the right way. Also, when you think about buying a house, do you want a lot of people bidding on that house while you're trying to buy it? No. And when you're trying to sell it, do you want a lot of people looking at it or not? So you see, it's obvious questions. And then when you take that same thing to the stock market, it's like, why are you trying to buy stocks when everybody is talking about them? Why are you interested in Tesla? Everybody is talking about it, right? Have a different mindset. If you want to make serious money in the stock market, buy the things that nobody's talking about. You don't have a lot of competition. And then after you own it, and then the company becomes bigger or whatever, then you want to sell it when everybody is talking about it.
Exactly.
So you can use the same business principles that you have, whether running a dry cleaners or real estate operation or whatever. If you have that mindset and you use it in the stock market, you can make a fortune. But the problem is that in the stock market, people don't think like owners. And recently, I was
that's a really good tip right there. You know what? You really hit that on the head. People don't think like owners. Because when you own that stock, you own a piece of that company.
That's correct. And also, I was a couple weeks ago. I live in Indiana. I drove from Indiana to Texas, Wichita Falls, Texas, because I wanted to. I was looking at a mobile home park. I was going to buy a mobile home park with some partners, and I went there to do my due diligence and talking to the owner, and we ended up walking away. But what happened is that when you are dealing with buying a commercial property or residential property, you are talking to a owner. You are talking to an owner. You are talking to a business owner, and they're not idiots. Okay, they know what their thing is worth. They know what it can do, and so when you're bidding on it, you're dealing with a fundamental person, right? They're not going to sell you something for 5 cents on a dollar. They're just not. You're not going to get a super deal on privately owned businesses. But in the stock market, you're not dealing with rational people. You're dealing with hedge fund managers. You're dealing with people that are super affected by the fluctuation in the stock price. So you can really get fantastic deals simply because you're dealing with non-owners.
Yeah, I love that. That is really super good advice. So then when people are working with you and they're part of your private membership, you're sharing the research, kind of like what I do. I'm like, hey, listen, this is a good real estate market. Here's a good market. Short sales are good. Subject twos are good. This is good. Kind of the same thing, giving advice on the real estate side. What's a good technique? What's working? Where's a good area? Do you live over in Indiana?
Yes, I do.
So I'm
South Bend.
I'm in my childhood home right now. I'm in Ohio at my dad's house.
Oh, cool.
So this is my house I grew up in.
Neighbor.
Look,
We're neighbors.
Look at my little house I grew up in. It's so cute here. And they have a lot of red. Everything is red. Everything is red. It's like, does not go with my pink hair. I have a heck of a time with the lighting in this place. So tell me, so did you grow up in Indiana?
No, I grew up in Poland.
Yeah, I was in
I came to
okay.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so
came
tell
to the
me.
US, came to the US in 1996 when I was
Oh.
16, right after my first year of high school in Poland. I came during the summer. So in the US, I went to the second, third, and fourth grade. I mean, high school.
High school. So I was gonna, so one of my questions I would like to ask people is when you were like 13, 14, 15, like what were you doing back then? What was your mindset when you were like a young teen? Were you like thinking about business? Were you getting in trouble? Were you ornery? Like what were you doing?
Okay, so that's a great question because it will lead somewhere. I was an athlete. I was all about sports. I was a track and field star in my country. I went to a special track and field school. I played soccer. I played basketball. So I was all about sports and competition. Okay. When I was coming to the US, that was during the time, Dream Team, Michael Jordan,
Oh,
Chicago
yeah.
Bulls, right? And I was coming to Chicago, right? And I was coming on June 23rd, his jersey, right? So I was like, in my mind, I'm coming to the US straight to the NBA. This was my mindset. Like I wasn't coming here to change my life. I was coming here to play in the NBA because like we didn't have basketball teams at that point because it was just at its infancy.
Right.
So what ended up happening, I tried out for a basketball team in my high school and I made the team, but I didn't speak the language. I never played organized basketball. It was just, on the street. So they broke my heart, right? Because I was coming to the US to play basketball and then they didn't even let me play. They let me play like 30 seconds the whole season. So they broke my heart. And at that point, I stopped all sports, completely cold turkey, stopped all sports. But the realization, what happened to this is that I went from being so competitive, wanting to compete because I was winning. So it was fun. And then I came to a country where I wasn't competitive. I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do, whether it's on the basketball court or even get to the schools that I wanted to, because I came. And then right after I came, 12 months later, I had to take ACTs, SATs. Well, how are you going to do when you just learn the language? So then that sets your path. Like you can't get to the schools that you want. And it's like you're not competitive. And I realized that if I wanted to be successful, I have to forget the competition, but focus on the things where there's not a lot of competition, where my efforts can go much further. And that's what got me into the microcap investing, stock market, and also real estate, like from the point of view of appraising. How many people go into appraising, right? Everybody wants to be a realtor. Everybody wants to do the same thing. No, I went into the appraising. So I was able to get a job much easier. But then after I left real estate, how would I get an edge in the stock market? Like what kind of edge can I get when I invest in Tesla or Apple? Everybody knows about these companies. There's hundreds of analysts covering them. But if I go after small companies that are trading maybe on the secondary exchanges, not on NASDAQ, but secondary exchanges that are maybe on their way up to NASDAQ, then I can have all of these companies to me. Nobody's competing against me because hedge funds cannot compete in that space because they're too big. They have so much money, they have to go after big companies. Retail investors, what do? Well, they chase crypto, they Tesla, AMC, GameStop. That's what they're doing. They're busy, on social media. So I have like so little competition. I can find these companies, find these gems. I can call the companies, get the CEO on the phone to explain me everything. He will talk to me where Apple CEO would never talk to me. So, because I focused on an area where there's so little competition, which was so different from my childhood, I was able to turn $10,000 to 7 million over 12 years. And that's simply because there was very little competition, and my efforts that I put in, they actually yielded some results because there was no one competing against me.
That is really interesting. That is really interesting. So you were like in Poland, you were like all in athlete, coming over here to play with Michael Jordan on the dream team. I can tell you that whole dream team thing, being an American, gosh darn, that was like such an exciting time in our country, that whole thing. And then when you got over here, that things that didn't work out like that. I can imagine coming over and not knowing the language. It must have been a big barrier, especially being like 15, 16 years old.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I learned it, as fast as I could, but still, you can't be competitive at the same level within 12 months. It just doesn't happen. I would say it took me like at least 10 years to feel like, okay, all right, like I'm on the level now.
Nice.
Even when it was 2007, which is like 10 years later, I still felt this insecurity. But like after that 2007, it's like now, like bring it on. I don't care. Like, we're competing now.
I love your attitude. I love your attitude. Why did your parents move here?
I was supposed to be in the US when I was 2 years old. So 1982, my grandmother was already here. She was a citizen, and that was during the communism and bad things happening in the Eastern Europe. In 1980, it was like 1981, December. We were on the way, my mom and I was almost 2 years old, on the way to the airport to leave the country. And like few hours before the flight, they closed all the borders for like 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we couldn't get out. And then, after that, you just get your life, you go to school. And we didn't really think about coming until 1993. My grandma was still here. So she applied for the papers. She brought my mom's other siblings. And it took us about 3 years to get the papers. And then we came, 1996.
Nice. Oh gosh, we're happy to have you in America.
I'm very happy to be here. Like, really, I know there's a lot of political talk and people arguing, but like I wouldn't choose any other country to live in but the US.
I agree. I mean, I've never lived in another country, but I've traveled the world enough to know that no matter what kind of crazy stuff's happening over here, it's still the best place to live.
Yeah. I love it.
We have a great country. I love America. I'm one of those like super proud, like stand and salute and sing the national anthem and thank the soldiers. And when someone's like dissing on the country, I'm like, I will stand up and argue with people about stuff.
But another thing that I love about the US, which is I feel like you don't have limits. Okay. I feel like I can be as rich. I can be anything I want to be. Like, it's just this freedom of, like I can do whatever I want. And I didn't feel that anywhere else.
What's funny is that I find that people that come from other countries have more of that mindset than people that grow up here.
Well, they take it for granted, right?
They take it for granted. And then, you get sucked in around like I'm in Ohio and I grew up in a great place. I had, a mom and a dad, 10 acres living in the country. We had cows, chickens, we had a garden, we canned food, and everybody in Dayton, Ohio. So I graduated high school in 1977. So, quite a bit older than you. But at that time, everything was like, get out of high school, get married, work at a factory, put your 40 years in, work for the man. And everyone was kind of along that path. And so I did that right out of high school. I got a job, worked in a factory. And after like not even 2 weeks, I thought, oh my God, why would my parents want this for me? This is the worst thing that's ever happened. Working in this horrible factory, there's no air conditioning. You're staying on concrete all day. It's freaking hot. It's June in the Midwest. It's like, why would someone raise you up that this is your goal in life? So I immediately thought, no, I am not better than, I'm going to have more than that. That is not going to keep me into my box. But people in this country sometimes are like, oh, I'm black, I'm white, I'm this, I'm that, I'm young, I'm old, I'm educated, I'm not educated, and these are all the reasons I can't be successful. And I don't believe that to be true. I think anybody with any gumption can make something of themselves in a country like America.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not easy, but it's doable. And it's interesting that you said that right after you got out of school, you went to work and you didn't like it. You see, I had a similar experience that, like, right after I graduated college, I find Rich Dad and Poor Dad books,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's like I didn't even enter the workforce. I'm already thinking about retiring, right? How crazy is that? But that was my mindset. It's like I don't care about having a career or being on a corporate ladder. I didn't care. I already wanted to be financially independent at that point. It just took me freaking 15 years to approach this. It would have taken me much quicker now, knowing what I know now. But it's the mindset. And so many people, like what you said, they do work these jobs and they hate them. They hate them because not so much because it's factory and there's no air conditioning, because a lot of them work in the office. It's the hopelessness of you have to go, you have to be there, somebody else controls your time.
Everything.
And you don't have much purpose. And also they probably hate the fact that there's a limit, there's a cap of what they can do.
Exactly.
But once you take that path and you're able to release yourself from that, I mean, life is a lot better on the other side.
I like that. You have to release yourself. I like that term. You have to release yourself because you are right. Now, this is a beautiful house here. It's in the country. It's on land. My dad worked a job for 40 years. He and my mom got divorced. The woman he married, Lois, my stepmom, my little mama, she worked at General Motors all the way till she retired. So they had these jobs all the way till they retired. And so when I got my factory job, everyone's like, "Oh, you got a factory job. I'm so proud of you." And everybody was so excited for me. And after 2 or 3 weeks, and after like 6 weeks, I was like, "Oh my word. I can't even imagine 40 years from now, this is what I'm doing here." And I have so many friends that went into the General Motors and the factories that worked their whole lives there. A couple of my cousins, and I'm just like, man, and I mean, I don't say like, your life sucks, but I think like, why would you work all your entire life in some miserable hot thing that you don't like, and you bitch and complain, and you literally live for the days off just for whatever paycheck that there is, and there's no security in that anymore anyway. All those big companies, they've all burned and crashed, and then you get people that are out there that don't have any idea what to do because they just went down some path that somebody else told them about.
And then also the paycheck, salary and paycheck is an addiction, like cocaine is.
Yeah.
You see, I guess the positive thing about my path was that I never had a salary, because real estate appraising wasn't really a salary job. Maybe I had a salary for like 6 months, but I didn't get addicted to that. It was the entire time that I was working at that field, there was uncertainty every single day. It's like, where am I going to get the money? Is it going to be enough? Always. So it's you're living in that fear, and that actually helps, because then you don't get you look for things to create, like whether it is, when I left full time for the stock market, the first thing I did, I wrote a book. I wrote one book, and then it started selling copies. Then I'm like, well, why don't I write 9 other books? So then I wrote 9 books, and then the next thing you know, the sales from those books cover my mortgage. So then you're like, well, let's create a course. Let's do this. Let's do that. And every single time, my girlfriend and I, we would be like, let's create a product. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's just a completely different mindset. You free yourself one little step at a time.
Yeah, and that's true. That is like, for when I first started investing, I was 30 years old. I was married. I had a baby. So I'm thinking, I'm going to do the American dream, get married, have kids, have a picket fence, the whole thing. And then when my daughter was only 8 months old, my husband and I split up like super unexpectedly. And he took the money in the car, and it was just the whole thing. So now I have this baby. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm 30 years old. I have no real job skill. I'm staying home raising kids. And so it was sort of like my moment of like, okay, what do I do at this point? And I'm hearing all my family saying, get a job, get security, get benefits, get a paycheck, get a paycheck, get a paycheck. And I'm thinking like, you know what? I don't want to do that, because that entails putting my daughter in daycare, working all the way till she gets out of high school. And then I'll be 50 and I'll still be in like this trap. So I just took the chance and started investing in real estate, like completely on my own. Every single person in my family, you can't do that. You'll never make it. You're a single woman. You need a man, and just the whole thing. And I was like, listen, first, A man is not a plan. And B, I think I can do it. And next thing you know, it's 30 years later. And like she said, lots of books and lots of success and lots of money and 500,000 students. And it's like, but when I look back at how I was raised in this country to how I ended up, it's really astonishing to me, because there was no support in the beginning. Even for 10 years in, you need to give that up and get a job. You need a real job. It's like, I have a real job. I'm a real estate investor. But people, you're trained to like get that paycheck. It's really hard to break out of that.
It's very hard. And you can't really ask advice from heroin addicts how to get off heroin. Okay.
Exactly.
And that's what you were doing. It's like,
Yeah.
they were telling you, hey, this is safe. The needle is nice. It will make you feel great. And you're like, I want to get out. And yeah. And at that time, now you can go to YouTube and find people like yourself. Okay. Now, but back then there was no support like this. So many people like yourself had to have figured it out on their own.
Yeah, that's why I love podcasting. I love interviewing people like you and talking to people that because that's the thing, is like one of my notes here that I always tell people is like, we're gonna find out, like when I interview someone like you, we're gonna find out what sets them apart, because everybody, even if they haven't reached millionaire status yet, everyone that said, you know what, I'm gonna branch out of this 9 to 5, go to college, get a job, work for our time 65, all the people that take that step, there's something in their mind where they could have been terrified, but they still did it.
But I want to say one more thing though, because millionaire status is like this milestone, but you don't have to reach a millionaire status to set yourself free. Okay.
No, you don't.
I exited the labor force when I was 29. Okay. I didn't work. I didn't have a job since I was 29. And so, but during this time, I had to live on very, very low expenses, like college student for 10 years. Yeah. I don't have any kids. And then a little bit at a time, like I said, I wrote one book, I wrote second book, then I released this product, I released that product. Just looking around my life, I was looking for problems. What kind of problems do people have? So like let me give you one example. I'm a ballroom dancer too. So in the competitive world of ballroom dancing, everybody has to have an outfit, right? And the outfit is expensive, especially for women. The $3,000 you have to pay for an outfit because it's all handmade. So it's expensive. There was my girlfriend or my partner was looking for instructional videos on how to make dresses so that you don't have to spend that $3,000. There was nothing out there. So what we did is we contacted this dressmaker and we said, hey, look, I have a sets of video cameras here. Let's make a course together of how to make ballroom dresses. Okay. So he's like, okay, I don't know anything about social media, anything about this, but I know how to make dresses. So I bring the camera, we make the course in a week. Okay. Six videos, sell them for, I think $500 or $300, something like that. We didn't spend a freaking penny on advertising, nothing, zero. We put the previews on YouTube because we're the only ones in the world. We sold $100,000 worth of DVDs. Okay. Wow. So that's an example. Amazing. 1 week worth of work, right? 100 grand, and we split it. And that's simply, my girlfriend was bitching about not having, how to make these dresses. Nobody else makes them. We don't know how to make them, but I have a camera. That's all I know. I have a camera. He knows how to sew. We get it together. We do it. and we create a product. Another product that we did from hair complaining was when you make a pie, apple pie or whatever, and you have a dough, right? You roll it out, okay? And then the dough goes all over the place. The people that don't have the skills, they can't roll it out into a perfect circle. Like they can't, it just goes all over the place. So she was like, can we create a product where it's like a ring, plastic ring with this hole in the circle. You place the plastic ring on the board, and you put a dough in the middle, and you roll it out. And as the dough expands, it hits those edges, and it becomes a perfect circle. So that's two. We launched it. We're the only people in the world. We're selling it on Amazon. One ring like this for $35, right? And so we have someone make it. We sell it to Amazon. Amazon sells it all. But it's just an example of like when you are in a different mindset. Most people like look at problems and they're complain. I'm like, I'm listening to her complaints, like, oh, she can't do this in the kitchen or that. Okay, now if there's no product that solves it, we're going to figure out how to make the product. And once you're in that mindset and exercise, then because getting rich is really all about solving problems. Okay, no person that got rich, really, most people that got rich, they solved some kind of problems, right? Elon Musk, what did he do? He created an electric car. Bill Gates, what did he do? He created Windows when there wasn't one. When you go and you flip a house or you do a short sale, what do? You solve problems. You pick up a broken down house that nobody wants to live in, and then you fix it up, and then you solve the problem. And now that house is available for retail, and it's also financeable. So you solve a problem for the bank, you solve a problem for the user, right?
Yeah.
And so if you think about problems as an opportunities, if you want to make $1 million, figure out how to solve $1 million problem, or solve a $1 problem but sell it 1 million times.
It's fun. I love your heart. I always tell all the people that work with me, I said, do you get paid for the problems that you solve? I tell everyone that, because like the guy that comes by and picks up the trash out here, he probably makes 25 or 30 bucks an hour, because that's the problem that he's solving.
Yeah, he solves a very simple problem, and he's selling his time. He's selling his time to solve the problem. Yeah.
And then it's like you said, I'm helping people get rid of their house or in foreclosure. I'm helping someone get into a new house. I make more because I solve a bigger problem. You make more because like you said, you solve a bigger problem, or you solve something simple, but you sell it, 1 million times over, which is great, because you're one of the few people that looks at it as problem solving. And that's how I've always looked at it.
But you see, you don't have to be the one solving the problem. Okay, that's the thing, because people are like, well, I can't solve problems. You don't have to be the one to solve it. You can hire somebody that will solve it. Or you can be involved in the company through, for example, stock ownership. Like as long as they're solving get involved, they're solving the problem. If they are successful at solving this problem, and you don't overpay for the stock, you're going to make a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. And it's the same way. I have real estate home study courses. And I tell people, listen, it took me 10 years to really learn investing, because we had nothing. There were no REIA groups. There was no internet back in 1990. There was nothing back there. Like, you don't need to learn it. I already figured it out. Just here's your shortcut. Kind of like you with your stock. Like, hey, here's the shortcut. And, so I help solve that problem too.
And those kinds of businesses that you have, the courses or subscription businesses, I mean, that didn't exist this way before the internet. So this is the best kind of business, because you create the course, and then how much does it cost you to add a new customer? Well, nothing. So it's a wonderful business model, because it doesn't need capital to grow after you have that infrastructure.
Yeah. You are one of the few people, I think, that has used the actual word like problem solving. And that's how I look at it. If you can solve a problem, you have a business.
That's right.
Or you work for somebody else, like the guy that picked up the trash today. He solves a problem, but he works for somebody else. I solve a problem and I choose to work for myself. So I also am solving the problem of not having to I don't have to have a boss. I don't have to ask permission. I can take out when I want. And, which is the best problem ever to be able to solve, is how to get up from underneath everybody else's thumb.
That's right.
So there's nothing better than freedom. And, it's not millionaire status. When I closed my first deal, I made $22,000. My second deal, I made $50,000. and I had $70,000. I was like, woohoo, I am the richest person I know. And I was out over the moon with the fact that I had $50,000 in the bank. So you don't need to be a millionaire you don't, anyway, having money doesn't necessarily make you happy, right? But money solves a lot of problems.
It's the freedom that it provides.
It's the freedom. It's the freedom, because you can have a lot of money and have a lot of debt and have more problems and be more miserable than you were. But I will tell you one thing: having it, and having your bills, and having your things, and having whatever, and having that freedom, that to me right there is all it takes to. I would feel like for anybody to want to work for themselves.
Well, and also you said very good point is that money solves a lot of problems. So, for example, right now I'm trying to upgrade my YouTube channel to make it more visually appealing and all that. And I'm not doing this stuff on my own. Like I just called up yesterday, I called up this video production company in my city. And I said, look, I have all these lights. I bought $10,000 worth of equipment. I'm putting up these lights and it looks like shit. Like, can you just come over and do it for me? Because I'm sick and tired of this. Like, just do it. Come in. I'll pay you your $300, whatever you want. Just come, set it up. I just want to turn it on and make videos. I don't want to mess around with the shade here, the shade there. And then the same thing with editing. So I'm like, making videos, it takes me quick. Like, I know what I want to say. It takes me 30 an hour to make a video. And then I have to do 5 hours to edit it. I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. So I just hired this company, $1,500 a month. Like, oh my God, I will pay you $5,000. Just take this thing off of me, edit it. But money allows you to buy other people's time, because everybody else is so happy to sell their time for money. And I'm like, you know what? I will buy your time. Like, if so badly you want to sell it, I'll buy your freaking time. I'll pay you your rate. You do this busy work so that I can do things that I want. I can take a nap whenever I want. I can wake up whenever I want. I can take a day off whenever I want, or I can work hard whenever I want.
I'm with you 100%. I have all kinds of people that help me with podcasting and editing and show notes and all those things, because I don't have the time to do every detail. And I want to do the part I enjoy, which is the interviewing and the talking and getting to know new people and making new friends. Like, that's the part I really love. So I want to be able to do that part without going, oh, at the end of this video, I've got so much editing, because then I don't look forward to doing it.
That's right.
So, all right, you are so interesting.
Thank you.
You are so interesting.
You got me going. You got me going.
I love I just love your heart. I love your heart. I love your mindset. I love all that. So let me ask you a couple of just fun questions. What is your favorite food?
I like Chinese pizza and burger. They're at the same level.
Chinese pizza and burger. Me too. I like Chinese a lot. I
wish those three things made you lose weight.
They have well, you won't have it over there in Ohio. They have this it's called Marion's Pizza. So it's a pizza chain just here in Ohio. There's only about 7 of them. Their pizza it's so unbelievably delicious. It's little square pieces. I'm like, oh my God, if I would eat this day and night if it wouldn't make me weigh 300 pounds.
Exactly.
Every time I come to town, the first thing I do, my dad picks me up at the airport. I'm like, I'm going to go get Marion's Pizza. So I get it like 5 times while I'm here. And then I get it the last thing I leave. Then I go home. It's like, how did I gain 10 pounds up there in a week? I mean, pizza, too much pizza. What's your favorite band of all time? One band, favorite band of all time?
Oh, I think Shakira.
Shakira.
Yeah.
I love Shakira. I'm surprised to hear you say that. I love Shakira.
Well, I discovered her way before she became popular, because, I'm into Latin dancing, ballroom dancing, and she had some Roombas that, that was way before, she became popular.
She's great though. So when I was in my 20s, the Arthur Murray, I left after my factory debacle. I moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then that's where I've lived the rest of my adult life, between Florida and Colorado. And the Arthur Murray, remember the Arthur Murray Studios?
Yeah.
They were so popular, and I got a job at a studio, a very tinier version of that, called the 201 Club, and I was a ballroom instructor for like a year.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was so fun. So they had to, I don't know how it works, but we had to learn I had to learn like 5 different dances. like the first 10 steps of these dances. So I had to practice and then teach. And so
Yeah.
I learned, I don't know, I learned like the
Cha-cha, rumba,
cha-cha, the
swing,
rumba, I learned the
tango, waltz,
swing.
and foxtrot.
Yeah, so I learned those, and we had to learn. Back then, they called it like a gold, silver, and bronze. So I had to
Yes,
learn
they
like
still do.
bronze level. So I had to
Yeah.
learn these. So I practiced all the time. Then I would sell, memberships and lessons, and I would teach the people. I gotta tell you, I freaking love the swing. I was like this guy that I worked with. We had to practice all the time because unless you knew how to do it already. I used to swing dance like a crazy woman. It's like I think now if I did that, my hips would probably fall off. But I loved swing dancing. I could not get over how much I loved it. I would just all the time. So much fun. Ballroom dancing is so much fun. I married a man with 2 left feet. We've tried ballroom dancing. We've tried a couple different dancing, but this is that. You know how those super white guys don't have the rhythm. They're just like up on the beat, no matter what you do and how much you practice. I'm like, dude, I cannot dance with you. So we dance and we have fun. But I actually ballroom dance around my house with my daughter because she loves it, and I've always thought it when she was little. We did it, so we're always like swing dancing around the house, and I love dancing. I love Dancing with the Stars. I watch all that stuff. Where's your favorite place? Where's your favorite place to go where when you're at that spot, you're like, everything is right with the world?
Illuminati's Pizza in Chicago. Deep dish pizza.
A pizza place. Nice. Okay, so let me see. I took a lot of notes, so let's see if we're able to get into the mindset of Mariusz. Did I say it right?
Yes.
I love it. So you're in the stock market, which I love. MicroCapExplosion.com, love it. 42. You have you start off as a appraiser, kind of a broker, got into the stock market. You're from Poland. You were super athletic and had everything going on over there. Came over here, dream team, and like, hey, I'm gonna go play basketball, and didn't work out, which might have been good for you because it got you off onto this other track. And you got into real estate, and that led you into getting into the stock market. You have made $7 million. You said 10,000 into 7 million.
That's right.
That's amazing. Came here in 1996. The thing I really love that you said is that people don't think like owners, like in the stock market stuff, people don't think like owners. I love that. I also love that you do look at it as problem solving because you get paid for the problems that you solve directly. That's why you make the money that you make. And I love the fact that you feel that way. And I also love the fact that you told people that if they'll just release themselves, just relieve yourself from whatever things that are holding you back, you can step into your own business or step into success or step into whatever you want to step into. There's no limits.
That's right.
Like you said, no limits here. And you've written 9 books, which I'm going to have to read a few of those. I did not realize you wrote that many books. I'm excited to read a couple. You have
10 books.
10. Look at you. I've only written 3. I'm really behind the ball here then. Chinese pizza, burgers. You love Shakira, which I love that you love that. And your happy place is it the Luminous Pizza place?
Yes, Illuminati's.
Illuminati's. I know that's a good place. I have never been there, but I do love the Chicago, the deep dish pizzas. They're amazing. So is that a little bit about what's inside your mind these days?
Yeah, that's on the surface. Yeah.
Well, I know there's always deep, but we only have 30, 40 minutes here. But you know what? You're a really you're a super really interesting person. I'm really happy that I interviewed you today. You're really interesting, and I like your just point direct, right to the fact, and you have just a lot of really neat ideas, like the ballroom dancing videos and the thing for the pies. Like I can see all those. I can't make pie crust for nothing. You can't flatten those things out. And they're all over the place and it falls apart. It's on the floor. And it's like, that's great. You are all about problem solving. I wish more people thought that way. We'd have less problems.
I don't think there's going to be a shortage of problems because the more problems we solve, then other problems come up, which is good, which is good.
Yeah, as long as there's problems.
It's an opportunity.
Otherwise, if there's no problems to solve, what will we do?
Yeah. I mean, if everybody was rich, then everybody would be depressed. Then you have another problem to solve. So.
Yeah, then you would. We have to figure out, well, you know what? They could ballroom dance and get that energy and all that great music, and that makes, who doesn't love that kind of music? Makes you happy. So at the end of these shows, I always give out a life equity assignment. So the life equity is financial, physical, spiritual, family, or mental. And so I asked you earlier if you would honor us this week with our life equity and our assignments. So what equity do you want us to work on this week, and what do you want us to do?
Learn how to think it independently, and
okay, yeah. So they're going to go into mental, maybe.
Yeah, independently, and not have to have your peers approve of your decisions, whether it is to go quit your job or go and start something, or just, don't ask, be okay on your own. And that falls into so many different categories that you listed, because if you can think independently, then you can choose your own investments without having to go on Twitter and TV to make sure that somebody else is also in it. If you want to buy a house, you're not going to go and ask, well, some people will ask all of your family members if this is the right house. No, like, know yourself. What do you want? And go for it. Think independently. You don't have to have an approval. We're not in high school anymore.
That is so true. I tell you, in America, it seems like all the kids, it's like they feel like high school is like, everything is high school. And I taught my kids from day one, listen, when you get out of here, you'll never see half these people again. You're not going to do anything, no peer pressure, no nothing. You're going to get through school. You're going to do great. You're going to take college classes, because when this is over, those people that peaked in high school, they're going to be people working for you down the road. That was my
attitude. And don't ask losers for advice. Okay. I mean, ask more successful people for advice.
Exactly.
But I haven't had the luck with mentors. Like, I never had an opportunity where someone helped me. So that's okay. There's enough resources out there. You can help yourself.
But see, now you help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was a broke single mom with like no skills whatsoever. And I thought, gosh darn, I was fired from Denny's. If I can flip houses, so can other people. So I started helping people back before I really even knew enough to talk about it, because I thought, gosh, I got out of the factory. I got out of this, I got out of that. So if I can do that, everybody else can do it too. So I've had a heart for helping people since I did my first deal. So, all right, guys, if you love the show today, don't forget to opt in at Dwanderful.com. Dwanderful, Dwanderful.com. I've got some free ebooks for you, and also subscribe. We had an awesome guest today, so leave some five-star review, write something amazing, subscribe to the podcast, help grow the show. And what is your YouTube channel page? What's it called?
It's just my name.
Okay, so well, it's in the show notes.
Yeah, I mean, go to YouTube and just type in my name, first and last name, and you will find my channel.
And go there and follow him, because I think you've got a lot of amazing ideas. And so do you have like one single, like an actual just one parting word, like a word?
Just, like I said, think independently, be true to yourself. You're responsible for your own happiness, not others. So stop asking.
Amen.
Start doing.
Amen, honey. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Again, Mariusz, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your great stuff and sharing your mind. You have just a super great, interesting real estate millionaire mindset right there. So, folks, you can learn a lot from this gentleman. He is sharp. We give him 2 thumbs up over here at Dwanderful. So we'll be back again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Remember, the truth is in the red letters. All right, everybody. Ciao. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for dropping by to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever, making real estate investment wonderful each and every time. And for more information on how to make your real estate dreams a reality, keep an eye on Dwanderful.com and be sure to become a member.